What sucks is I actually would have said I really thought this was. Oh,
Yeah, we're good. You talk whatever you want.
thought this was going to be your year to come out the East, but now Celtics got Tatum.
Celtics look really good, and the Knicks don't. And obviously, Oklahoma City. What was the final score in that Laker game last night?
Lost by 47.
Oh, what's going on, everybody? Yeah, it's a Modelo Friday. Got Levi in studio with us for the first hour. So we're going to chop it up for an hour. Chris Matthews will join us afterwards. Levi's done at 1:05. And that is it. Then I'm going. It's a weekend. You could wear those. Those should work good.
I mean, I don't have to.
You don't have to, but you can, if you want to throw them on. If we get a call, we'll put them on. Yeah. Dan Orlovsky's crying again. His son, autism. That's a good thing. Heartfelt message.
Really good win for him after last week.
Yeah, he's been wow. Everybody hear us good? Yeah, we got Cadillac Levi, and he's got the Cadillac hat.
Most comfortable hat I own.
Most comfortable hat you got?
Yeah. No, it's the easy. It's black. Fits me.
Good.
Everybody knows me and Q got our thing for the lax.
Yeah, you do. Here we go. Out of the gate, JT on a Modelo Friday. Yes, I reward myself with a bucket of Modelos every Friday, and we have a full day sponsored by Modelo as we kick off the show. If you're watching, which you should be always watching, because you can watch on your phone in your car, keep your eyes on the road, but have the phone there on YouTube. You'll see Levi Edwards in studio with me right now. Yes, there he is with the Cadillac hat on. And we're going to chop it up for an hour, and we're going to get a lot in here. So if you want to talk to Levi, you can chime in. Ask him anything you want on Raiders content. He's about as good as it gets from Raiders.com and the digital team. And good to have you here now as you're getting used to driving across town because you work in deep Henderson, and we're out here in this middle part of the city here. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, man. It's a lot more developed over here on this side of town.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels like Henderson is just so brand new in terms of development and what's going on over there. And then I come over here and I see all these restaurants and apartments, and I'm like, man, and
people actually live over here.
People live over here.
People live over here.
Yeah.
And Henderson, Clay, as we know, there's Henderson, where Clay been out here his whole life with me, and then there's Green Valley, and then there's where the Raiders are in deep Henderson out there, which is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's like just add Raiders, and next thing you know, you got an entirely different community in an area that was never existed 10 years ago.
Yes, an area that never existed now is a thriving community where actually children go to school and people go to work, and we love it. So we're here today to talk about the events of this week. And as I've talked to Levi, he's on often that I thought this would be a really quiet offseason, and it was before the Max Crosby moved to Baltimore and then his return. And then I was saying, well, other than that, we're just going to have Mendoza's Pro Day, and then we're going to get ready for the draft. And then, boom, Kirk Cousins gets signed yesterday. And the NFL got a lot of coverage on that yesterday. That was all over ESPN and NFL Network now that they're combined. All day yesterday, they treated that like a big story.
Yeah, and it is a huge story, and I think it's just for a lot of reasons. One, because you're getting in a guy that's accomplished what he's already accomplished, and you have a guy, Kirko Chains, Big Kirko, Captain Kirk. He's got all the nicknames in the world, and he's been in the league for a while, and he's dealt with a lot of adversity to kind of get to where he's at. And more importantly, he knows Clint Kubiak, and he knows that system. Some of Kirk's best seasons in the NFL were with Clint Kubiak as his QB coach and his offensive coordinator. So it comes down to familiarity. This is a move that I kind of saw happening for a long, long time now. I could have predicted this happening as far back as, early February, and it finally just came to fruition now. And I think it's going to be really big, not just for the development of other players on the team, but just Clint Kubiak having somebody that knows that system front and back.
I think you nailed it. I was talking to my son about this. The other players in the building who are going to get reps with Kirk Cousins, including Brock Bowers, right? Brock Bowers with Kirk Cousins at camp, mini camp, OTAs, working with Kirk Cousins when he's not working with Fernando or Aiden O'Connell. It's going to be great for him, a veteran who's going to teach him maybe something about a route tree or something that he wants to learn that a wide receiver coach and maybe an offensive coach won't tell him. I think that's going to be really important to the development, not only of Brock Bowers, but especially Michael Mayer, who I think is going to click with him too, because if they're getting second team reps or first team reps, whatever it is, I just think it's good for everyone who touches the football to have Kirk Cousins in the building, even if he's not the starting quarterback at one point in time.
Yeah, no, he was expected to be the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, and then he was for a while, and then that kind of went south. And then he was still able to, pick things up. And he ended last season with the Atlanta Falcons on a real hot note.
Yeah, he did.
He won 4 straight games. They almost won the AFC. They almost won the NFC South. So it's one of those things where Kirk Cousins can still play good football and still be productive in this league, despite how long he's been. And what I really like about him and his story is just the adversity that he's overcome to get to where he is now. And he was never supposed to be the guy with Washington. And then to a degree, he was not even really supposed to be the guy in Atlanta when they brought in Michael Penix to come right behind him. And he still finds a way to compete, earn a job, fight through injury. And he really is everything that you would want out of a veteran quarterback, especially when you're going to bring in somebody to develop and groom.
Well, is the word, when I look at what he's been through, first off, he's made $330 million. So that's not a rough life that this guy's had. He's made $330 million, I guess a couple more bucks than even Tom Brady with 7 Super Bowls. He's only won 1 playoff game. He played pretty poorly when he played at Allegiant Stadium. He had a touchdown here. He didn't play well in that game, if you remember.
Like 119 yards.
Yeah, it was he did not play well.
Very mid-game.
And the Raiders played worse in that game, which was a really bad football game. If you remember that, that was a bad Raider football game. And the Raiders over the last couple of years have had some bad football games. That one was bad. But let me tell you, and here's our focus for the show today, because we had to do a lot yesterday. We had a bunch of guests booked. Levi here for the hour if you want to get through, 702-365-9200. On Monday of this week, I would have said 99% Mendoza's the starter. In fact, I wasn't even going almost 100% Mendoza's going to start. I'm now down to 20%. So I don't like that. I want Mendoza to start. I'm a Mendoza guy. I want him playing. I want him starting. But I understand that he's probably not now. How do I handle this now, knowing that Mendoza is going to be available for our season ticket holders week 1 in the home opener, and he might be holding an iPad? Because fans are going to get really excited about him here. They're not going to be excited about him sitting.
Well, I really have to go back based on history. And I've just seen so many quarterbacks in my lifetime, and I know you probably have as well in your lifetime, where you see these guys who have all the talent in the world, all the ability, and they get thrown out there to get fed to the wolves. And then once this happens, then it's like, okay, well, this quarterback is a bust. This quarterback is trash because he's not playing well. And that's just not the case. They're just not equipped to do what they can do with that team. Everybody can't be Jaden Daniels. Everybody can't be Cam Newton. Everybody can't just come into the league and just tear it up. Sometimes you have to grind it out. Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions his first year.
Did.
Trevor Lawrence led the league in interceptions his first
year.
Troy Aikman looked horrible. A lot of these guys that are supposed to be the savior of a franchise, they come in and they look horrible because they're not equipped to play with the team that they have. And Clint Kubiak, John Spytek, they just don't want that to happen to Fernando Mendoza. Even if they do think he's the guy, even if he is worthy of being the number 1 pick, why would you throw him out there to fend for himself to the wolves when you do not have the team right now that is going to be able to compete? And they will get to that point.
But not to interrupt, he is a proven multi-year college quarterback who's 240 pounds, 6'5", and I think he can handle a pass rush. I think he can move outside the pocket. It's not going to be like he's playing NFL quarterback and he's going to forget how to play. Yeah, he's going to get sacked. Yeah, he's going to throw picks. And a lot of people now are in one of two courts. Either sit him down, which he's going to sit. He's not going to start. And then bring him along at a nice pace. I don't know what that pace is going to be, or throw him to the wolves. And you're probably right, because I think Clint Kubiak is really sharp. Tom Brady has been on the record on this topic a lot.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady definitely thinks a quarterback should be able to sit and do that and develop that way. So that's probably where we're going.
There's a guy I can think of that's been a pain in the ass for the Raiders for years on years now, and he didn't start when he first got to Kansas City. He had to sit his whole rookie year behind another veteran quarterback that he probably could have beat out in camp. And then the next thing you know, he's a multi-time league MVP, Super Bowl champion, and I think you guys know who I'm talking about. So it's one of those things where if a guy sits, it's not because they're not talented enough. It's not because they're not good enough. It really is just trying to set them up for the most, success down the road. Would I like to see Fernando at some point start in his rookie year? Absolutely. I wouldn't say I would like Kirk Cousins to start the whole year, but I do think that they are looking out for the player at the end of the day and trying to get the most out of him, especially considering he's about to come into a new system. He's only had maybe 5 snaps in his whole college career under center, and Clint Kubiak had, I believe, Sam Darnold was under center 51% of his snaps last season. So that's a huge adjustment for a young quarterback to make, especially in a zone blocking offense like that. So there's going to be a learning curve, and I think Fernando Mendoza ultimately will be able to play through it and become a really good quarterback. But it's going to take time, and having Kirk Cousins kind of guarantees you a little bit more wiggle room to have that time to develop a guy like that.
Levi Edwards in studio if you want to get through. And Clay, we talked yesterday, I think the most important thing, Clay, when the schedule comes out is the bye week. The bye week's going to tell a story, as we touched on. If the bye week's week 7, I think Mendoza starts week 8. If the bye week's week 5, you bring Mendoza in off the bye week, unless Cousins is just playing his ass off and he's lighting it up.
Yeah, I think his schedule will have a lot to do with it. Even if, let's say, you felt like really strongly that Mendoza had a great camp and was clearly the better guy, who's your week 1 opponent and where? A rookie quarterback on the road in Denver or Arrowhead? You have to rethink these things depending on how the schedule even plays out. It's hard to believe that would be a tangible problem to worry about, but it is.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important, Levi, when that schedule comes out, because it's a beast of a schedule.
Yeah.
A home schedule is brutal. It's hard. There are just hard games all over that home schedule. On the road, I think there's going to be an opportunity with Arizona and the Jets, the games at Miami at home. But when you look at these games and what the Raiders could win, I really believe that's where they'll drop Mendoza in when he's ready, maybe anywhere between week 5 and week 8. Does that sound right? Because if it's after week 10, then we're just shelving him for his first year. It's over, year 1. You're just going to give him a couple games at the end of the year. I'm not into that. I want to see him play the majority of the season. 17 games, I got to see Mendoza. I'd like to see Mendoza at least play in 10 or 11 of those games.
Yeah, no, if Mendoza's not starting by week 10, then Kirk Cousins is playing his ass off. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there's no way. And it also, like I said, like you guys said, you made a great point. I do think it's very dependent upon schedule, because imagine you start your season against a 49ers or a Seahawks. Well, not Seahawks because they have another game, but say you have to play a Chiefs or a Chargers or a –
how about the 49ers
in
San Francisco?
In San Francisco.
Yeah.
Or all of those teams that I can think of, the Patriots and their defense that just won the AFC. Imagine you have to start your first 2-3 weeks of the season with that kind of schedule. And Fernando Mendoza behind the offensive line that is also trying to learn a new system are getting thrown to the wolves. And I'm not saying that things will not work out eventually over time, but you got to think about this learning curve with this team and this new coaching staff. It's going to take time. It's going to take time for everybody in the league to adapt. So you might as well, depending on the gauntlet that you get to start the season, you might as well just throw somebody out there with the veteran experience that has the wins and the resume to be able to get through that tough stretch before Fernando is more comfortable.
Have you evolved at all with your opinion on the second-round pick, the second pick behind that now with Cousins and Fernando, because they sure seem like they need a number 1 breakout star receiver, and I really think the smart play is to stack another starting offensive lineman in there. If it's a guard or tackle, right tackle, left guard, whoever it is, interchangeable guard who's going to start. With that second, third pick in the second round, they should be able to get a starter either at wide receiver or on the offensive line. And I still think the offensive line's a bigger priority.
Yeah, so I'm kind of halfway with that.
Okay.
I have said from day one, I believe that the Raiders should take a number one X receiver with their second round pick. And even if that pick at 14 would have stood with the Ravens and the trade would have went through, I think that a receiver would have been great there too. So I'm still of the same mentality, same mindset, especially with the fact that you're going to have a lot of guys kind of like fall to that spot. You might have an Omar Cooper, reunite him with Fernando Mendoza. You might have Casey Concepcion. You have a lot of really good Zachariah Branch, a lot of really good receivers right there that you could take that could be starting outside receivers. But however, instead of offensive line, I would say there's some really good tackles right there that are going to be there at 36 on the defensive side. Really good defensive tackles that might slide. Guys like Peter Woods, guys like Lee Hunter, Caleb Banks, if he slides, I don't foresee that happening. But there's a lot of really good tackles in this draft that I feel are going to be right there for the taking. That can be your big nose tackle that you plug in up the middle in this 3-4 base defense. So those are the two positions I would go at 36.
Yeah, I'm leaning in your direction for defensive tackle because when you draft a young offensive lineman, a lot of times they get slaughtered. They come into the NFL, they just don't have the NFL strength that you need to handle the defensive front that they're going up against. A young defensive tackle coming out of a big-time program who's been rushing the passer and stopping the run has got to be able to go day one. No rotation like Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Pegues. We're done with that. How many times when Adam Butler, good player, not a Pro Bowler. How about if you're going to draft a defensive tackle in the second round high, that's got to be a Pro Bowl comp in 2 to 3 years. Or wait till the fourth round and get another J.J. Pegues or get another Tonka Hemingway. We've seen this organization, and now it's in great hands with John Spytek at the controls with Tom Brady. If they're bringing in young defensive tackles, they can't be, as the great Raider Mort reference would tell me all the time, just a bunch of guys. All we've brought in here in the last decade is a bunch of guys. The last great defensive tackle that came to this organization, may he rest in peace, was Darrell Russell. He was a plug-and-play Pro Bowler his rookie year. I'm not saying we're going to get a Pro Bowler who's a rookie, but I need him to start. He can't be a developmental defensive tackle. We got a boatload of them over at the facility right now.
Yeah, if you want a rotation, you can already do a rotation. You have a rotation. I'm not saying that they're not great players or could develop to be great players, but you have a lot of solid defensive tackles right now that you can rotate. You mentioned Tonka, JJ, Jonah Laulu, I'll throw in there.
Yeah, I like
Adam Butler. Even in a 3-4 base defense, you're probably going to see Thomas Booker in there as well at that spot. So you have a lot of guys that you can throw in there in the rotation. But I think at 36, with the guys that are potentially going to be there, you can actually take a guy that is going to be a 3-down defensive tackle who can not only pass rush but also stop the run, really draw a lot of double teams. So Max Crosby can eat. All those guys on the outside can eat. You know, you just sign Kwity Paye, and he's the guy that can contribute to that. So I feel that not necessarily like defensive tackle is going to be the most dire need for the Raiders at 36, but at that spot, if there's a guy that you feel is a first-round talent that slides, I feel like that's the best opportunity where best player available and team need come together and they mesh really well. Because I think I can clearly see a couple of guys at that position group that are going to slide down to the second round, and they're going to be guys that have first round value or guys that could be immediate starters today. You can get that at 36, and if he's there, you got to do it.
Levi Edwards in the studio, so that's interesting to me because if you count Kirk Cousins as a starter, because he's going to start, he's the starting quarterback. That's 8 new starters in the offseason with Max Crosby returning. So that's a big number. How about trading up into the first round and getting another starter that way? Instead of waiting in the second round, how about packaging some later picks and moving up into the first round to really get the guy you want to get before he might be gone, after pick number 25 before the Raiders pick in the 30s?
I think that's a really great idea. And also with that, you can get a little greedy with that pick too. Because if you're trading back up into the first round, it's not like you're letting somebody fall to you or you're drafting for team need. Then you're going after the guy that you feel like is very high on your board, regardless of position, and you're going out and getting a dog that you feel like you wanted regardless. So then that pick could be receiver, that could be a safety, that could be a corner, that could be a D tackle, that could be whatever you want if you trade back into the first round, because you're taking somebody that was just clearly a very great player that you want on your roster that you feel is going to be able to contribute immediately, instead of having to be like, okay, well, we need a guard right here, or we need a receiver right here, or we need to go and get a safety right here. Like you're kind of taking a position completely out of the realm of possibility, and you're just seeing the player for what they are. Like, imagine if the Raiders trade back into the first round at 25, and then a guy like Caleb Downs is there because people are not high on his injury history with what they saw and whatever physical. And then you get what could be a generational safety at 25 because he slides, because you trade back into the first. Or imagine you get a Pro Bowl defensive tackle because you're able to trade up and you don't have to wait until 36. Like, there's a lot of things that can happen doing that. So I am a huge fan of that. I don't know necessarily how they would package it, but it definitely is in the realm of possibility.
All right, Raider Dave starting us off in Denver. Dave, what's happening? Go ahead.
Hey, thank you very much. I like what you guys are just starting to say about jumping back into the first round. The other realm of that is picking a position that is or can be expensive, and yet first round pick, you always get that fifth-year option. So my question is, can Grant, who filled in for Miller last year, compete at the right tackle spot or not? Because it seemed to me that Glaze had more sacks coming from that side than Grant did. I think Grant, with Miller and Jackson were out, I think Grant filled in admirably. The line's going to look a little bit better with the addition of Linema in the center. There's no doubt about it. And we finally did see Rodgers get some burn last year. So without any other vets coming in through the free agency period, I'm really thinking that the film that the coaches have seen sees some promise here. But otherwise, if AOC is a camp casualty later, I just kind of wonder if they can get a veteran camp casualty of the right tackle spot that's really good with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate the call. That's very interesting, because then you're taking a depth piece and you're saying he's going to become a starter because DJ Glaze is going to move back to a backup and a second teamer. I don't know the answer to that, and this team pretty good in the depth on the O-line.
Well, what I'll say is I'm going to give the answer that John Spytek has said multiple times this offseason. And also you have to look at what they've done in free agency as well. They've gone after 2 offensive linemen in free agency this year, and it was a guard and it was a center. And so that kind of gives you a hint right there as to what they think about their tackles. Plus, also, I believe at the owners' meeting, John Spytek was asked this question, and he said, I like Colton Miller, I like DJ Glaze, and I like Charles Grant. And he said that he wants to continue to see them develop. So that's his words. Exactly. He said it. So that kind of answers the question right there, which also there's been a lot of things that John Spytek has said this offseason regarding that situation. And everything to me points as if he believes that his tackles were not developed properly last year.
They weren't.
I feel like he has openly said numerous of times, either subliminally or very openly, that he thinks that there's a lot of meat to the bone, and not just with his tackles, but with also a guy like Caleb Rodgers, who got some starts. So I truly believe that with the new coaching staff that's been brought in, I think that he thinks that there's a lot of meat left on the bone that he still wants to get into. And I do think that the Raiders will still draft another tackle. I still think that they'll draft another guard. I mean, they have 10 picks. It's kind of impossible for them not to do that.
Yeah, the back end of the first round, the back end of the draft after the 5th, 6th round are experimental players, which are great. You can park them. They can play practice squad. I just think that this team has the opportunity in their first 4 picks, which is really 3, because we know it's Mendoza. Mendoza most likely, as we found out yesterday, will not start, most likely because of the signing of Kirk Cousins. But, man, that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round pick better be ready to go. And they better be dogs coming in, playing with those dog linebackers from Georgia. They got to be ready to go. And with all the coaching that we have on the offensive side of the ball, I'm starting to think also, too, before we wrap up our opening monologue brought to you by Modelo, that I think they're going to get a receiver, a former number 1 receiver on cutdown day. I really think when rosters are trimmed, I think there's going to be a veteran receiver available an Odell Beckham Jr. type, not him, but a player like that who's been in the league 8 to 10 years, is pretty good, makes a little bit of money, maybe more than he's worth. That's going to be a camp casualty, and I think the Raiders will be able to get a veteran wide receiver who will be a 1 and a 2, because I don't think Jack Bech is ready yet to be a 2 just yet. Jack Bech, to me, is critical this offseason, Levi. He was drafted in the 2nd round. I love the guy. I talk to him a lot when I see him in the building. He's very engaging. I'm rooting for him, but he's got to have a monster offseason with Fernando and Cousins, with his route tree showing that he can do a lot more. Because I don't think he had a lot of opportunity last year. I don't think that Pete Carroll gave him enough opportunities to play football last year. And I think John Spytek's going to give him more opportunities with Clint Kubiak to play football.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have a choice. You have to look at the room and what you have. And as of right now, you have no choice but to give him opportunities.
Yeah.
Who else is going to take him? Who else right now on this roster is going to take opportunities away from Jack Bech? He's a 2nd-round pick last year. He did some really good things to end the season. And considering how Clint Kubiak likes to move guys around within this offense, he's going to get every opportunity to play on the outside, play slot, move around, motion. He's going to be able to do a lot to prove himself in multiple roles, not just one. So it's one of those things where he has no choice but to step up. Dante Thornton Jr. is another guy who I felt had a great training camp last year. And then kind of towards the season, there was times where it felt like the moment got too big for him. And if he can just kind of, channel things and really get back to who he was in training camp and carry that over into the season, I think he'll be another critical piece. And I think, obviously, I believe that there should be another receiver added to this core, especially some guy who can be, a number 1 receiver on the outside. But I look at the Raiders in the time that I've been here in the receiving cores that they had when they were going 10-7 or 8-8. And honestly, they weren't the most star-studded guys in the world, but they made it work. And they were able to run the system, and they were able to do things, with Darren Waller tight end. Now you have Brock Bowers at tight end, so it is possible.
Clay, are we getting gun shy with Dante Thornton Jr.? I mean, he didn't get a lot of opportunity either. It was like after Chip Kelly got fired, there was like no thought of getting these young receivers going last year at all. It was hand the ball off and watch Ashton just get tattooed in the backfield. And Brock Bowers was never healthy until the latter part of the season, and they didn't throw it to Michael Mayer until late in the year. What are your expectations with Dante Thornton Jr., that big, strong wide receiver who's supposed to be big in the red zone on the outside?
He's still a spy tech guy. They maneuvered around and manipulated the draft to get as many picks as they could in the top 110, and he's part of that mix. Both he and Bech need to have that great, stellar 2nd year. And I'd have to think that he's not going to give up on somebody like Thornton because he believed in him in the first place. Sometimes when you have new regimes, they're looking for other guys at that position. But it still feels like he's got something left.
It's fascinating. Pete Carroll's gone. John Spytek's here, rightfully so. He gets an opportunity with a guy that he helped pick in Clint Kubiak with Tom Brady to really go into the coach's office and talk about getting the young guys some experience. It didn't happen last year with Pete Carroll. I got nothing negative to say about Pete Carroll personally. I never will. But the fact that when this season was over last year, the season was gone after week 8 or 9, he didn't put the young guys in. And he didn't develop the young guys on the latter half of the year. Now, when I sat down with Coach Carroll every week, he made it clear to me that you had to prove it in practice. And I give him credit because those practices with Pete Carroll are not easy. They're hard. And if Pete Carroll didn't think you were worthy enough to start on the offensive line or get more reps at wide receiver, you were not getting those reps. And I thought that was a mistake. Late in the season, I wanted to see younger offensive linemen, and I wanted to see the young receivers at least get more targets, purposeful targets early in games, and it didn't happen.
And I think another big thing that kind of hindered that is bringing in Tyler Lockett, because you want to bring in a guy who's familiar with Pete, and you want to bring in a guy that was familiar with Geno. And he took a lot of reps from a lot of young guys.
Good point.
And so you have to – then you had Jacoby still on the team, and then he got traded, and that opened up some stuff. So really there just wasn't a whole lot of opportunities for these guys until later in the season. But even with the opportunities they did have early, it's not necessarily like they made the most of them. I think just kind of like what I was talking about with these tackles, there's a lot of meat on the bone with those guys too. And so I'm really curious to see not just not just what they can do, but just the development. And I think that that's been an issue for the Raiders in recent years, is just player development, of being able to get the most out of guys. And then you have to see them go off and play for other teams, and then they turn into like these insane players that kind of what you thought they would be when they were drafted. So I really want to see what the development of this roster looks like.
Look what Lil Brick says. Levi and Brick so clean. He
Shout
says
out
that.
Lil
He's
Brick.
watching right there in that box, man. He thinks he's running the chat today. He's ready to roll. Hey, everybody, it's my wife's birthday today. Happy birthday to my wife, who is inside the Lucas Oil Stadium now watching Illinois practice with 30,000 people at practice. So her birthday's today. My wife, many in the Raider Nation know my wife. Happy birthday to her today. She's got a family trip. She is such a diehard Illinois fan. She is back there for the wins. She ain't back there just to kind of say hi to her friends. She's in that building for an Illinois win tomorrow. Let's see if the Big Ten can bring it home. When we come back, more Levi. He's here to the top of the hour, taking your phone call, 702-365-9200. La Casa Cigars. Oh, yeah, you'll find me there either Friday or Saturday. Live music outside, having a stick, having a Modelo, and relaxing. I get to relax at La Casa Cigars in Tivoli Village. Mike has an unbelievable store there. Go check it out. All the selections are there. Nice job. Nice job. So, you know, the other stuff we're going to start learning to do is the live reads, the rejoins. So when you're in here hosting without me, probably in the next week we do this or around your schedule, we're going to have you come in here with me, you and Clay, and we're just going to have you take us out of a break or two, which is real easy. So we'll just take us out of a break.
How do you remember what reads you're supposed to do at this?
It's usually in my head. What I do with Clay is like Friday, I thank all of them, so I have it. But usually in the morning when I get up, I'll look at all the active sponsors that I have, and there's like 10 now. And I'll pick 5 today. Like we did La Casa Cigars, we did Modelo. I'm going to do Finley Volvo today and Black Hole and that. And at least I know I'm getting in 5 or 6 every show.
Yeah.
Because it's a 2-hour show. In football season, we have about 15 active clients, and we got to get them all in. Like they're paying not only for commercials, they're paying for us to talk about them. What's happening, everybody? Good to see you.
Is it still live?
That's live.
Okay.
That's live, yeah.
Lil Brick, if you can hear me, I want to let you know your pops has dripped out today. He looked like one of those rich old men in Miami posted up on the beach. That's kind of the vibe you're going
That
for
is
today.
my drip today. I have a lunch after this, casual outdoor lunch with the friends. So a little casual today.
You look like you dripped out for Miami.
Yeah, I feel a little Miami today, man. This is the time of year I usually take off, but I don't take off now because we're making moves for Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza. Yeah, everybody in the chat, here's what I want to do. Everybody in the chat, let me know. You want Mendoza to start or not? Go right in the chat, yes or no. Start or not. So put start or no start for Mendoza. I want Mendoza to start in week 1. I want him to outplay Kirk Cousins in camp and start. That's what I want, but he's not gonna. Look at all the no's. Look at all the no's. See, that's no.
Fernando has to be like.
These are the same fans that want to win so bad, and they scream at me and they yell at me when we're losing. And now I'm saying, hey, we get Fernando when you don't want to play Fernando. But you're the same fans who want to win and are sick of losing, but you don't want Fernando.
You know what's crazy is, Clay, tell me if I'm wrong, even with the Patriots last year with Drake May, didn't they start Jacoby Brissett for like a few weeks before they put in Drake?
Oh, yeah, I think they did. That definitely was the plan. If it wasn't executed, that definitely was a plan.
Like Tyrod Taylor was supposed to. Tyrod Taylor was starting until they fucked up his lung.
But they were definitely going to go in that route.
Yeah.
They were committed to it. Everything was fine about it.
Yeah.
Clay, can you find out if Matthew Stafford started as a rookie?
Yeah,
Did he
Oh,
start?
he had to.
Yeah, he was.
Not by
Are
Matthew.
you sure?
Oh, yeah.
He got injured.
Wasn't that like John Kitna? No, who was the quarterback before he came in? It wasn't Scott Mitchell. It didn't go that far.
Because they went back to back number one. They got Calvin, and then they went 0-16,
Yes.
and then got Stafford.
Right. Stafford was injured in a game that kept him out of like that first year. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Stafford and Calvin and the Lions and the Raiders were 1-2 that year.
These youngins actually don't know how good Matt Stafford was.
Who did we pass on? Who did the Raiders take instead of Megatron? That's a great trivia question. It was Jamarcus Russell.
And Matt Millen's got a great story because he was the GM there, and they brought him in. They were going to take Calvin, but they brought him in as due diligence just to talk to him. And after the interview, he told him, he called Al Davis like, "Don't draft this guy." And Al thought he was trying to gaslight him, said, "Hey, you're trying to get me off my guy? No way am I moving off of him." But he had such a bad interview with Millen and Marinelli, and they were like, "Don't."
Jamarcus.
Yeah, Jamarcus.
Wow.
Let's see, first year Stafford, first game, he started.
Wow, he did.
Against the Saints.
I'll ask you that when we come back. What do you got planned, Levi? What's the weekend looking like?
I'm going to try. Well, actually, my mom's birthday was yesterday.
Oh, good. Happy birthday to Mom.
So we're going to go bowling tomorrow because she didn't want to do anything yesterday.
Mom's out here?
Yeah, she lives out here.
Okay, good.
She lives kind of like near like Galleria Mall in Henderson.
Oh, good.
So we're going to go bowling tomorrow at Sunset Station. And that's about it.
Nice.
I'm really not trying to do anything else this weekend.
Can you really throw a bowling ball? Are you a hard thrower of the ball or finesse?
I'm trying to be more finesse. I'm trying to be more finesse because whenever I put all my power into it, I can't accurately get it down. But
a little finesse.
If you are an actual bowler and you know how to like spin the ball, I would appreciate you teach me.
I know a little bit about bowling, but I'm not the guy to teach it. My son says Robert Gallery over Phillip Rivers, Larry Fitz, and Sean Taylor in that draft.
You mean that was like 04, right? To the Space Beast. Oh.
His eyes towards the back of the end zone. He ducks it. Genty at the goal line. Touchdown, Raiders. Gene on a 4th and 2. Found Ashton Genty right at the goal line. Juice in the end zone. 5-11 to go. The Raiders not done yet. It's 24-9 Cleveland.
You know, that Ashton Genty highlight from Jason Horowitz. This ML Football, that is a pretty big Twitter site. So it's got about 440,000 followers. A lot of it's clickbait, but I have it. I follow it because there is some good information. The question is true or false. Ashton Genty was a bust his rookie season. You see this crap? And he says many fans believe Genty heavily underperformed. His rushing stats, 266 carries, 975 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3.7 yards per carry. Okay, it didn't include his receiving yards here. Okay,
or his receiving touchdowns.
Right, or his receiving touchdowns. But when Raider fans talk about, wait until next year or the year after that, Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers don't have any time to wait. They don't have any time to wait. They are elite young stars in this league that need to win now. Okay, they need to win now like Christian Gonzalez is with the Patriots, winning now. So when everybody says, well, this year is going to be good, we're going to develop, get Mendoza going slowly with Cousins, and then next year. None of this next year crap. Genty's not thinking next year. He's in the weight room. I saw him the other day. He's lifting weights. He's got to get going this year with the addition of Cousins, and especially with Tyler Linderbaum. Do you think the goal of this offense is going to be run before throw? This is going to be a running offense led by Clint Kubiak, establishing the run.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the mission of all 32 teams in the NFL because it's very obvious that if you can't get the run going, then everything else won't open up either. And we've seen it with our own 2 eyes last year, and you even bring up that stat. How can you say he underperformed when he led all rookies across the league in rushing yards? And 88% of his yards were yards after contact. So
88%.
88%. According to NFL Next Gen Stats, 88% of his yards were yards after contact.
God, he took a beating last year, and I know he's fine. He's so gifted and strong. He's like a little bowling ball with blades coming out of it. You see the memes. But did he take a lot of hits? Clay Baker, wanted to ask you, Matthew Stafford out of Georgia, he started as a rookie.
Started as a rookie. Game 1, week 1 against the Saints. Went 2-8, got injured. And as we were talking about in the break, the year before, it was the year that they go 0-16, but they drafted Calvin Johnson, Rod Marinelli's last year. So when the Lions drafted Matt Stafford, they also had a rookie head coach, which was Jim Schwartz. But he started week 1 and went 2-8 that first year.
What pick was he, Stafford, in the draft?
Yeah, he was number 1.
He was number 1. Yeah, he was the number 1 pick overall and started. And we know Andrew Luck was the number 1 pick overall and started. And, a lot of number 1 picks from John Elway back to Troy Aikman started as the number 1 pick. But Tom Brady has a different philosophy with this coach. Joe from Brooklyn, you're up with Levi Edwards. Go ahead, Joe. Is Joe there? Go ahead, Joe. Yeah.
The last 4 games, he got some reps in, he got used to the offense, he brought in a new coach. We're a little bit, ahead of the game. We have the coach, we have the system, okay? But now we just need to get another draft class, another free agency, under his belt, and then what do you think Cam Ward really learned last year with Tennessee? The guy, the poor kid was running for his life, had nobody to throw to, was in shambles, and they won, 2-3 games? I mean, I don't want Mendoza to start and then we win 2-3 games. I'd rather have the team built around him the right way. I get it, Jenny and Bowers, everybody wants to win now. But we waited this long as suffering Raider fans to get this thing right. We have the owner, we have the GM, we're going to have the quarterback. Maybe we need a wide receiver. I'm not sure. I like Jalen Naylor. I like the receiver. We don't know what we have in Bishop for. The coaching staff last year was a disaster, a complete disaster. Let's just let Kirk Cousins run the show for the first 10-12 weeks, see how it goes, and then if it's not going great, let Mendoza start the last 4 games and then take it from there.
Okay, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. You're probably right. That's probably what's going to happen. It's probably going to be Mendoza sitting the first 8 to 10 games. 10 to 12 games are too much for me. 10 to 12 is just too much. Mendoza needs to be productive as a rookie. He's a rookie. He could be the rookie of the year. You don't take away the rookie of the year. Jim Plunkett won the Heisman Trophy and was the rookie of the year on a terrible team. He was the rookie of the year. It's an important award for people. Tell a quarterback that he's not allowed to be rookie of the year. Go sit down with Mendoza and say, here's the deal. Before you start and even get off the plane, you're not going to be the rookie of the year because we're not going to play you. I think he can handle that. If Tom Brady says you're going to sit, well, that means you can't win the rookie of the year. You can't have personal goals. And year 1, you're not going to throw for 4,000 yards. You're not going to have a Drake May rookie year. Well, Drake May was allowed to have a rookie year. Why can't I? Because we're going to sit you behind Kirk Cousins and you're going to learn properly.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm not necessarily a fan of Fernando sitting for the entire season.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you just look at all of these quarterbacks that come in and they have not even just like what you have to do on the field. Let's just take that out of the equation. The role and the responsibility of being a franchise quarterback, that's daunting. Being a face of a franchise coming in, and he handled that really well at Indiana, and he's done pretty good at that. But it's at the next level now where you coming in and everybody's going to be looking at you. The whole Geno Smith meme, blame it on me. That's real. And you're going to be a rookie quarterback and you have to deal with that. And so there's so many other things that go into what he's going to have to adjust to in the league just beyond what he's going to have to do on the field. And you need to make sure that you properly equip him because you do not want to have a situation where you thrust a guy into a certain situation and he loses confidence early because he has so many things going against him that's out of his control. And there's a lot of good situations with a lot of other good quarterbacks that struggled their rookie year and they were able to rebound. and get back to it. And I even in the chat right now, I'm seeing a lot of really good examples with even like Caleb Williams or guys like Drake May, and I already mentioned Trevor Lawrence and Peyton Manning. So I'm really am of the vantage point of you need to develop a guy properly, and once they're able to get on the field, put him on the field. And I'm not saying he needs to sit forever, but you need to do this the right way, because when was the last time the Raiders were in a position to draft a franchise quarterback? It's been 20 years.
My number one job as a sports talk host, number one, is to have strong opinions. I don't get paid to be right. I don't get paid to be right. You hear a lot of people saying that, but I take pride in being right. I'm not like some of these dummies on the radio who want to be wrong for clicks. I want to be right. When I'm wrong, people tell me I'm wrong and they don't let up. I'm good with that. I'm going to stand by the point that I want Mendoza to play a lot. That's not asking much. It's not to start the season. I get it. But we're going to know this team's record really quick.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right out of the gate, when I learned the schedule, Bruce Allen and John Gruden, when I got hired, year one in 98, I was up in Bruce Allen's office, and he put the schedule up on the whiteboard, and he taught me how to look at the schedule when it came out. It was one of the most important memories I have in Alameda in Oakland. First time with the Raiders before the season started, he said, sit down, I'm going to show you the schedule. And he taught me, look for the bye week, look for the home games, look for the primetime games, look for the division games and how important the division games are. And he started to teach me about all that, but he said the key to all of it was a big Gruden thing. Gruden, when it was 16 games, broke it down into four-game stretches. And he said the most important was the first four. You've got to get out of the gate. If you're going to win in the NFL, you cannot get buried early. That's why I often say on this broadcast, just get me to 2-2. I'm talking everybody in the league. As a sports talk host, if I'm on in Dallas and the Cowboys are 1-3, that ain't good. 0-4 sucks. You want to be 2-2 out of the gate. You want to calm your organization down. Say, hey, we're 500. The first quarter of the season's done. Now let's go win. By the first four games, Cousins is sitting if this team ain't winning. So if this team's not out of the gate 2-2, I've seen enough of Cousins. If they're 1-3, let's go Mendoza. If they're 3-1, which I hope they are, and I think they can be 3-1, because I don't think the league's going to give them the schedule, which is going to be at Denver, at 49ers, and then home to Tennessee. I think the Raiders are going to have a really tough schedule this year. I hope the league sees that, and the Raiders get a little bit of flexibility in those first four games. But I think we'll learn a lot about Cousins through the first four games if he's going to play anymore.
Yeah, it's something that you just mentioned when you were – that was a really – awesome story about kind of learning the schedule. I think that's also really important is when is the bye? Is this going to be an early bye? Is this going to be late in the season? I think last year we had like a week 14 bye or something crazy like that. It's going to be week 8, week 9. So there's I think that's also really important, because I feel depending on when that is, that would be the perfect opportunity to insert Fernando Mendoza in, depending on whenever that bye is, depending on what the record is at that point. And so you have to think about so many different components with the schedule in terms of when you're going to make this decision. Also, I'm of the mindset as well that if Fernando Mendoza, that's your number one pick, and he comes in and he's just egregiously better than Kirk Cousins, like just far beyond like what we could have ever imagined what he could have been in training camp. Like if there's like no comparison, then you do have to start in week 1. But if it's a competition and it's close, and you see that there's still some issues with kind of comprehending the offense or doing some certain things, and then this top of the schedule is rough, then you have to go with Kirk.
I talked to a former Raider player yesterday about this, called me and asked me what the vibe was, and we were getting into Mendoza and when's he going to play, which is our topic today. If you're joining us late, when would you want Mendoza to start? By what week, the bye week, whatever you want to do. We don't have the schedule yet. But I said to the former player, I go, is there any chance that Mendoza looks better than Cousins in the preseason and in camp? He said, no way. I go, what do you mean no way? He says, Cousins knows this playbook inside out.
It's very true.
This is his playbook with Kubiak from Minnesota, and the Kubiak playbook that Cousins eats, sleeps, and drinks every day with. There's no way Mendoza can come in and get this playbook for the first time and be as good as Cousins in a practice setting. And that's someone I really respect who told me that. So I have a feeling that Cousins is going to have a lot of good practice reps in camp, because he's going to be so familiar with what Clint Kubiak wants him to do.
Absolutely. Like everything we just mentioned, Fernando might have had maybe 5 or 10 like snaps under center his whole college career at Indiana and Cal. That's something he's going to have to adjust to, like every single young quarterback getting drafted this year is going to have to adjust to. Kirk Cousins has the years, he has the experience, he has the playbook, he has the relationship with Clint Kubiak. Those are all things that he has at his advantage. And at the end of the day, he still knows. I think people just get so they look at the contract and they look at how many years and all this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, Kirk Cousins' job is still to come in, be a veteran presence, and develop a young quarterback. That's his job. I don't care what anybody tells you what his job is, what he's going to do. That is what he's here for. And I feel like with the role that he's going to have, I think he's going to be able to fulfill that to the best of his ability.
I'm happy to be back as the MC for the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame. Starting next Wednesday, we'll start interviewing the new class, which includes Mark Davis. Mark Davis is getting inducted into this class, the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame. I'll be the MC for the event. It's going to be epic. That Mark's getting in. Going to be a huge Raider presence. We'll tell you about tickets and details coming up. We're going to go around Levi's life next. I'm gonna do rapid fire with Levi in studio next. He doesn't know what I'm going to ask him. It's coming up.
Oh boy.
All right, have some fun. Get to the top of the hour. Get you home. So, what is providing content for the Raiders is not a Monday to Friday job. In season, it's Sunday to
Saturday.
Sunday to Saturday.
Really Sunday to Friday.
Sunday to Friday. So Saturday's an off day always.
Depends on the week.
Yeah.
Depends on the week.
Like if there's a Thursday night game.
If it is a Thursday night game, I have Saturday off.
Yeah. Okay.
Or even really mostly Saturdays are off. The only time I don't really have a Saturday off is Yeah. No, I always have Saturday off.
Yeah, you got to have a couple days off, man, especially in the off season. Has the traffic and some of your articles and everything getting better numbers than you typically would think because the topics are so strong? Fernando, Cousins.
So we definitely have Fernando fatigue with our content because so many people already kind of assume that we're going to take them. But we got our article view numbers back for this last fiscal year.
Yeah.
And apparently it's the best year we've had since 21,
Good.
which is insane.
Yeah, I think the content's never been better, man. The content's been really, really good. Really good. Really good.
So I think there's a lot of things that helped with that. Just I think a lot of people were intrigued by Pete when we first hired him, so that got a lot of traction. Genty was a lot of traction. Obviously, our free agency signings this year did really well. All of our free agency content did pretty well.
The WNBA expansion draft. Man, ESPN knows how to get you your WNBA content, man. They pound away at the WNBA. I like the WNBA. I like our team here in Vegas, man, but wow. They give you that. If you turn on ESPN, you're getting WNBA, baby. You're getting it.
Oh, yeah, it's the experience. Yeah.
Raiders signed safety Tristan McCullum to his exclusive rights tender.
Yeah. Just a nice little depth piece. He's Zion McCollum's brother who plays for the Bucks.
I see that Mendoza will be coming in next week.
Tuesday.
Is that also the day minicamp is there? Is that also part of the?
I'd have to check and see what day minicamp is, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I saw that released today by the. So the 7th, right?
Yeah.
Fun timing.
Yeah. Judge homered today. Judge homered. He's got 3 home runs. He's on pace for 69.
69 regular season home runs.
Yeah. JT and Levi Edwards here. Levi's here for a few more minutes. All right, favorite country you haven't visited yet? What's the one bucket list country you want to take off the list? Bucket list.
I'm probably gonna go with God, okay, no, this is rapid fire. Probably London, UK.
Oh, there we go. So you haven't been to UK.
Not been to UK.
Okay, got a good one. Favorite beer?
Do I have to say Modelo? Am I
Yes!
obligated to say Modelo?
You are obligated not to say it, but thank you for thinking like a radio guy. That's what we're trying to do.
Yes.
Are
Modelo.
you a light beer guy?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a huge beer guy.
Yeah, you're not a beer guy.
But you do have a sponsor, Tito's.
Yeah.
Love Tito's.
Good. And
That is my
you've been
drink of
known to
choice.
have a margarita, right?
I am known to have a margarita with you, actually.
Have you ever skied in your life? Snow skied?
No, absolutely not.
Have an attempt snowboard?
It will not happen. Probably. I want to go to like Lake Tahoe and I want to be on the ski lift and kind of like see the other people ski. I'll do that like a snow cabin.
Faye, give me the last song you listened to on the ride over today, or the last song you remember listening to that you actually put on because you wanted to hear that song.
What was I listening to at the gym yesterday? It was a Gap Band song.
Gap Band.
It was a Gap Band song. I think it was You Dropped the Bomb on Me.
Whoa.
No. Early in the morning. Gap Band.
All right. When is leg day?
It was yesterday.
Leg day was yesterday?
Yes. Yeah, leg day was yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, I got some leg extension in. Did some leg extension, leg press, did some lunges, did all that. So today's gonna be chest and triceps.
What's your favorite beach?
Miami Beach. Oh, actually, okay. So in terms of the city, Miami Beach, like best place. But I'm also partial to the beaches in Alabama because they're quiet, like clear sand, white water, everything. Like the beaches in Alabama, like Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, all those are the most beautiful beaches that you can go to, and they're slept on, super underrated. I love those beaches. But if I'm gonna like go and have a good time while out, I'm gonna go to Miami.
Favorite meal in the South? When you're in the South, your favorite go-to meal?
I hate to be stereotypical right now on the radio with you, but it has to be, fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese.
Favorite meal when you're up north in Boston, where you're, from up there?
My mom is from Boston. She went to BC, so go Eagles for her sake. Pizza. I'm 100% going pizza or Chinese food if I'm in the Northeast.
You said you're taking your mom bowling. Other than weightlifting and bowling, what's your next favorite hobby?
Watching sports. Sitting my ass on my couch and watching sports.
So you can just like fall into the couch for 8 hours and watch multiple games.
Actually, moving to the West Coast is actually the best thing that could have ever happened to me as a sports watcher, because I can now wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Wake up, there's a game already on, and then I can just watch games until 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night and be able to get through all of it and not have to do anything.
Thanks for coming in studio. Kirk Cousins, the whole deal. This was a good show this hour. You can find it exclusively up on YouTube or LV Sports Network. Levi gave you a lot on his, and with 30 seconds to go, I'm going to hold you to it. I'll go first. I say Mendoza plays starting week 6.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that.
Oh, all right, Clay?
Or I'll say week 7. Maybe we get
all
week
right,
6
I got
by.
week 6, week 7, Clay.
I'm going early.
You're going early?
I'm going early. Week 5.
Week 5?
Right.
Okay.
All right.
It's like Price of Right. I couldn't repeat it. I had to go.
It's Price of Right. All right, everybody, stay here. We're going to have Chris Matthews join us coming up, the Dean of the Newsman, as we'll go around Vegas. Man, he's great to just say what's going on this weekend. We got a college basketball tournament here in town, and I'm going to the Frozen Four. I'm credentialed to go see the Frozen Four, which we'll be talking about next week. Thanks again to Levi Edwards, the DeCastroverde Law Group. If you get into an accident, the brothers win. brotherswin.com. Right, my man.
Appreciate it.
That's Levi, everybody. He gave you an hour, man. Give him some love. He gave you an hour of his time today. I'll walk you out. There's
the least I can do.
Yeah, you got it, man.
That music question was hard because I didn't listen to music on my way here because I was on the phone.
Oh, there you go. All right, all right.
Have a great Easter, man.
I'll text Chris Matthews, let him know. Unmuted, yeah, we're good. Yeah, we got a good crowd in here today, man. Appreciate everybody here on a Friday. I'm going to see Alice Cooper tonight. Alice Cooper and Chris Angel. That's a trippy show.
Power Shift by NP Energy is all about taking savings to the next level. Check it out. These products and services save energy and money. There are discounts.
Yep, tell him we'll call him in 5 minutes. All right, and my son's going to tell me what I'm going to rant about for a couple of reels here. So put it in the chat what you want me to rant about so we get a couple reels out of this. I think Torts is doing a good job, man. Vegas looks like they got a little bit of a pep in their step. We got a Golden Knight skull, Clay?
Yeah.
Just get up every day and you take one step at a time and you keep going and you show up. We have a big mountain to climb, but we're not trying to do it all in one day.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
It's really important to me that we're a gritty team, that the way that they were back in the old days. It's nothing that we say, it's what we do on the field. All the little things that win that have nothing to do with ski.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Yes! Final hour of the week. I only have one day off now. Saturday, I'm working Sunday, 9 a.m. to 1 on Mad Dog Sports Radio in between the national semifinal and the Final Four. So I'll be on for the Final Four Monday night, the national championship game. Yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Big weekend with the Final Four, man. My wife's birthday's today. Happy birthday to my wife. Happy wife, happy life. It's her birthday today, and she left me and her sons behind to go to the Final Four. Her team, where she went to school, Illinois. The Flying Illini are back. So she's back there with some girlfriends and cousins and family. So I'm excited about that for her. And my sons and I will celebrate my wife's birthday. Yes, I'm going to see Alice Cooper tonight. Alice Cooper, along with Chris Angel. They have a show over at Planet Hollywood. It's getting rave reviews. Chris Angel and his wild magic and what he does as an illusionist as Alice Cooper plays the soundtrack live on stage. I mean, that sounds wild. So I'm going to go check that out with my buddy Scott Flansburgh, Mega Math, the world's fastest math guy. You can find him anywhere on YouTube. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records. No one can count faster than Scott Flansburgh. Every time I go out with him, he blows people away. He'll go up to anybody, Clay, and say, "What's your birthday?" And you say, "Your birthday, the year, that's a Tuesday." He knows the exact day you're born. He's wild. And whenever I go out with him, we have a good time. Had a good time last night, and I'm excited for the weekend here. So happy Easter for those who are praising and celebrating Easter Sunday. This Sunday out here, we're excited about that. So happy Easter in advance. And then next week, we're getting ready for the Raiders to come together in the building. Mendoza's work day will be Tuesday. He's coming in for a workout, which I think is going to be really interesting as they put him through this offense. And that's the workout that matters the most. Okay, he's coming to the Raiders. Clint Kubiak, John Spytek. I would hope Tom Brady would be there, but I don't know. I would assume he would be there. And I think the building's going to be buzzing as Mendoza comes in next week. And then it's on to the draft. So starting Monday, what we're going to do is have a draft prognosticator on every day. So every day we'll have someone break down the draft. And then I'll be diving pretty deep, Raider Nation, into what the Raiders are going to do in their second, third, and fourth round pick. I don't care about the fifth, sixth, and seventh. They do. I don't. I have to focus the draft on what will be good and exciting for this radio show. 6th round picks aren't exciting until they develop into really good players. Everybody's excited about the second, third, and fourth pick and what the Raiders have to do in those rounds to have an impact. Vegas Golden Knights, as they fired Bruce Cassidy, brought in John Tortorella, seems like it's working in the short term. It's working. They got energy. They're smiling. They're having fun. The classic example of why you fire a coach in sports is you fire a coach looking for instant gratification. You fire a coach because you need something quick to happen. And once Bill Foley and Kelly McCrimmon decided to relieve Bruce Cassidy of his duties, John Tortorella came in, and it seems like it's working as we bring in the Dean of the Newsman. Chris Matthews joins us from 8 News Now. And Chris, before we get to the Raiders, it looked like Mr. Foley, and you know him as good as anybody, wants to win desperately. They made a coaching change, and so far Vegas looks like they're reacting to it.
Yeah, one thing about Bill Foley that he's mentioned from the very beginning. And by the way, JT, appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's been one of those guys that right from the start is always, always advancing, never retreating. He'll do whatever it takes within the rules to win. And it just kind of felt stale. They need a new voice in the locker room. You go out and get Tortorella, which is just totally different than what you had with Cassidy. But you're right, it's with it. He won his debut. Every coach, JT, that started here in Vegas has won their debut. So he falls in line. They got a big win last night over Calgary and Zach Whitecloud back in the building. Now they hit the road for 4 games. So that's going to be really interesting to see what they can do with these road games, because you got Edmonton mixed in there. You're fighting for a playoff spot as a Golden Knights man, and Edmonton's been really hot. They've won 5 in a row. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see what Tortorella can do with this guy and with this team. And I'm excited to see how they finish out the final 6 games of the year.
Chris Matthews is our guest. So let's get to the Raiders and Kirk Cousins. I'm not shocked at the player at all, because I think he or Joe Flacco would have been the answer. Someone really good, someone who's a veteran that could be the mentor to Mendoza. Cousins makes the most sense. Man, Chris, he knows how to cash checks, huh? This guy's amazing when it comes to guaranteed money. You've been in sports a long time. Give us your reaction to Kirk Cousins now coming here to the Valley.
That's right, JT. We need his kind of agent. If he's his own agent, I got to hire him next time my contract comes up, because this guy here, 99% of his salary has been guaranteed. Crazy. He's been in the league for a long time here. Just got the commitment from the Raiders. I'm excited to see what he can do. But like you mentioned, he is the Mendoza mentor. He's going to be that bridge to the future for the Las Vegas Raiders, and we'll see what he does. But now, hey, JT, he's one of the highest paid players career-wise in the history of the NFL. He just passed Tom Brady, 3rd highest paid quarterback. But this guy, like we mentioned, all his salary, all his whole career has been guaranteed money. So good for him, though. I saw him in that. A lot of your listeners watched him in that quarterback's piece, that special docu-series they had there. And I think a lot of people came away really, really impressed with not only the quarterback, but the man, Kirk Cousins. Seemed like a really good guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a man of faith. He's a great father, great husband. I think he'll be perfect in the setting with Coach Kubiak and Mendoza. But, Chris, really the topic that I've been pounding away on here the last couple of days, now that we know, is when would you like to see Mendoza play? Because I don't want him sitting much. I don't want him sitting at all, actually. I wanted him to start week 1, but I'm not the coach. They're going to start most likely the quarterback who's making a lot of money. A lot of it's paid from Atlanta, but still it's a big dollar number. When do you think he'll get an opportunity, Mendoza, to start for the Raiders this upcoming season? Any guesstimate?
I'm going to guess he starts week 1. I think Mendoza comes in and Cousins plays well, and they look at the they go through training camp, and I think that Mendoza is going to be the guy. Now I will backtrack a little bit, because at the combine, the pro day for Mendoza, Kubiak was asked what he would like to do, and ideally he'd like to have him sit and learn like an Aaron Rodgers or like a Patrick Mahomes, and sit behind the starter for a year and then be bumped up there. But something for some reason, I have a feel with this guy, this Mendoza, 6'5", talented, can make all the throws. I think that he gets in there in camp and really shows them that, I guess this guy is ready to go. And what a perfect example to learn from. I mean, Kirk Cousins, to learn the game, to learn the throws, to learn the system, and like you mentioned, Kubiak and Cousins have some history together. For some reason, I just think he's going to start week 1, Mendoza.
Yeah, that's a bold prediction. I give you a lot of credit for that, too. And I think there's going to be a few other people that make that prediction. It'll be easier to make once we get out to camp and we see the ball come out from both of them and how they look. But, yeah, I think Cousins was brought in to start. I think they're going to bring him in to bring Mendoza along, not super slowly, but slowly enough where he won't start. But we will see once we get into the dog days of summer. Chris, so the announcement for the Super Bowl and the NFL owners meetings, pretty big week here in Las Vegas. First, let's talk about the Super Bowl in 3 years from now. It'll be 10-plus years of Allegiant Stadium, and even longer than that with the groundbreaking, and they'll have 2 Super Bowls. It really shows how things get done here politically in Vegas.
Well, things just happen so quickly here in Vegas. And when you make a commitment, this city knows how to host big events. They've always hosted big events. Now you're hosting the gigantic sporting events. You know, Super Bowls, the Frozen Four next week in Las Vegas. 2 years from now, you got the NCAA championship game. You mentioned now 2 Super Bowls. This city just knows how to host these gigantic events and do them very, very well. And you're not driving in a car or an Uber for 40 minutes to get to the stadium. You're walking basically across a bridge to get to the stadium. The NFL loves it. Obviously, the economic boost, $1 billion to the economy. All the resorts love it. Fans love it. If you polled a bunch of fans and say, where do you want to go play football? I bet 99% would say Las Vegas or New Orleans. This is rotated back and forth between those 2 cities every year. You get no complaints. So I'm excited about that. And how great would it be if by some miracle in a couple of years, the Raiders are actually making a push to get into the playoffs. And in 2028, they have a phenomenal year, and they're actually kind of on the verge of perhaps playing at Allegiant Stadium in a Super Bowl. That would be every Raider Nation fan's dream. That would be awesome.
Chris, that has got to be the standard. You nailed it again. You look at 3 years from now with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty coming off near the end of their rookie deals. You better believe this team better be playing in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's got to be a playoff Raider team 3 years from now with a puncher's chance to get to the Super Bowl. I think that's got to be the standard. Anything longer than that is too long. I think that 3-year window makes a lot of sense.
And they got a lot of talent. You mentioned Mendoza now with the experience he'll have, Genty, Brock Bowers, the line, Max Crosby, if he can stay healthy. Now he's really, banging for that as they're making progress, and he can see the improvements as they rebuild this thing. And that would be so phenomenal of coming out of 27, going to the 28 year. You got all these players now with a lot of experience, an offensive line, the offensive line's playing well. You got those linebackers playing well. You've re-signed a few players, and this team makes a serious run. I think that would be just a phenomenal story for the NFL as a whole.
Wrapping it up with Chris Matthews from 8 News Now, the sports director. Chris, I got to ask you about the NBA. You were here for the All-Star game, which was kind of a mess. This isn't an All-Star game. This is a franchise coming to town. Big decisions on where the arena should be, maybe on a different end of the strip or at T-Mobile for a couple of years. You got a lot of contacts in town. What's the vibe from you on the potential of the NBA coming here sooner than later?
Well, certainly excited. The day that they announced that, the owners approved the exploration of looking into expanding into Seattle and Las Vegas, I did live shots with Bill Foley, the owner of the Golden Knights, who is very, very interested in becoming an owner of this potentially NBA team. And he's excited. What they're doing is, as they have plans right now there are plans to expand T-Mobile, put $300 million into T-Mobile and make that the home of the NBA franchise. And he's willing to get together and put some money together with some partners and fund this thing and make it happen. He's excited about the future. And I think the NBA with Bill Foley would be phenomenal because, we just talked about the opening of the interview here, that Bill Foley, he'll put whatever he needs to do to make the franchise successful. He was the owner of the NBA team. He would follow all the rules, put all the money in, go right up against the cap every single year with players and get a good general manager in here, a president, to make this team successful right off the bat. Now, it'd be interesting to see what the NBA would do in terms of its expansion if you get some players and kind of like the Golden Knights be successful right away. But I guarantee you, Foley is the owner of this future NBA team here in Las Vegas. They will spend what they need to do to make it successful.
Chris, finally, Final Four. So my wife's there. She went to Illinois. She's ready to rock, looking for them to win. We're an Illinois household, but Danny Hurley and UConn really look like a team of destiny. And then the heavyweights on the other side, the heavyweight battle. I mean, to see Michigan playing at this level and wondering how they're going to look in this game of this magnitude, and Arizona, who I picked to win it all. What do you like? Give me something with the Final Four you're pumped up about.
Well, I'm really excited about that Saturday. I'm really, really excited to see those two number ones bang. You got Arizona, Michigan, two top teams battling there. And I think I've had Arizona from the start, so I think Arizona's going to be your NCAA champion. But I also like the other side. UConn, Hurley, what they came off of, beating Duke, that tremendous, phenomenal, once-in-a-lifetime type of shot at the end of the game. And then what I really like is Illinois, kind of the sleeper team of these four. But on that staff, they got a real talented team, and on that staff, I would love to see former UNLV head coach, now an assistant, Kevin Kruger, win an NCAA championship. I know Kevin. I know you know Kevin Kruger well.
Yeah.
That guy is so phenomenal. I'd love to see him part of that championship with Illinois.
Yeah, he's on that bench, and I think Kevin should be hired as a head coach clearly in the next cycle with all the changes there. He's too good not to be a head coach. And, you know, Chris, it gets us back last one with UNLV basketball. There's no excuse not to be one of 68 teams in the tournament, considering the deep history of basketball in this town. I know Josh Pachner's trying to turn it around, but need a little bit more money coming in for NIL, a different level of player coming in across the board. It's time for Vegas to wake up again, because when you watch the Final Four and say UNLV is not even in the tournament, that's got to change soon.
Yeah, it's definitely got to change. I'm hoping that he can go out and get the money. That's what it's going to take. Basically, we've had Josh on our shows a number of times. This comes down to, I need the money to get the players. Now, fortunately, I think one of the big gets and a guy to keep here is the local kid, Tyron Jones. This guy has so much upside. He can fly, he can block shots, he can score. He's got to improve his free throw shooting. He can hit some threes, but this guy has a ton of upside, and so to keep him in the fold was a big deal. They lost Drake Gibbs-Lawhorn, the newcomer of the year in the Mountain West, but I think he can replace those guys. What he needs is a money guy. Like up at BYU, they got Ryan Smith, who owns the Mammoth hockey team and the Utah Jazz. They need somebody to come in here to Vegas and say, we're going to fund this team, one of these big resorts, start putting some money in this program so we can go out and get the very best players and rule the Mountain West. With the Mountain West splitting, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's not as difficult as it used to be to win the Mountain West Conference and get the invite into the NCAA tournament. I think with some money, he can certainly do that. He has the enthusiasm, the fire to do stuff, and he's been around the game, but in those Power Four conferences, so he knows how to recruit. He's got contacts. He worked in the media business for a couple of years, so he knows people. I just think he just needs the money to get the guys here.
Thank you, Chris. What do you have? Happy Easter. I know you celebrate with the family. Big weekend this weekend. Are you going to be in town? What do you got lined up personally in town this weekend?
Yeah, we're staying here. I was out at UNLV football practice today, talked to a five-star guy, a guy who started at Oklahoma, started at Auburn, got passed over. He got his NIL money, so he's going to close out his career at UNLV. So we got a story on that. Going to celebrate this weekend, watching some basketball, and no sports wrap. So I'm off on Sunday. Excited to spend the Easter Sunday with my family. And God bless you, JT. And I appreciate. Tell your family. I know your wife. I know you're jealous that you're not in Indianapolis, but that's awesome. Your wife is.
She deserves it.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You got it. Take care, Chris. I'll see you soon. Be well, my friend.
You bet. Thank you.
There he is, Chris Matthews, Dean of the Newsmen. The best of the best. We love having him on. Yep. Happy Easter to everybody. Hope you have a great holiday with your family as we continue to roll here. I'm getting trolled by Paul Gutierrez and Harry Ruiz with the Dodgers, so I just tweeted at them both. Judge with a home run today, man. A moonshot for the Yankees today, man. A moonshot there. Baseball is underway. All right, when we come back, open phones until the top of the hour. I don't put my feet up. I don't take a segment off. You know me. I push to the end, and this is Friday. It's a bucket of Modelo's on Friday. I got to get home. Don't drink and drive. Got to get home. My dripping wet bucket of ice-cold Modelo's waiting for me in Backyard Brick. I'm ready for it on an Easter weekend with a lot happening. I got to get off on Tiger Woods when we come back. The NBA playoffs. I'm going to dive into that. And more on Kirk Cousins. Do you want him to be the starter? And if you're a season ticket holder, you tell me about that. You want to walk in and watch Cousins start week 1 at Allegiant Stadium? Yes or no? Whatever's good for the team, we know that. And the coach will make the decision. All right, I'll do I'll do one more. We'll do one more. One more riff. One more rant. Look for the phone. Someone's trying to call in, I think.
Good morning tailgate.
Okay.
7 a.m.
JT the Brick Show.
Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of
Hey,
the Las
Mike,
Vegas
right there.
Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. I'm worth more.
Do you know this Carlos guy going?
Yeah.
No, I'll put him up after Mikey.
Okay.
You're right. At
Mike and
GiveMeTheVin.com, you are worth more, and your car's worth more, and we want to pay more at Give Me the Vin, because good cars are worth more, and so are you. For top price, trust, and ease of transaction, GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car
So
lot.
Oh, yep.
we got Gannon, we got Chase Daniels, and
Yeah.
2 long cuts from Pellicero.
Perfect. Perfect. Happy Good Friday. You better believe it. Good Friday. No meat today. I almost fell for that. I almost had meat today. It was close. It was close in the fridge, but I didn't do it. Yeah, I'm playing golf tomorrow. I got a big turnaround. I'm going to the Alice Cooper concert tonight, and I got a 10:30 tee time Sunday. So there will not be a lot of Modelo's late night tonight because I don't like playing golf if I'm not really clear. You know what I mean? Got to be clear. Yes, no meat, Snow Raider. No meat. 1:20 in the afternoon, 4:40 for our East Coasters. Praying for the 2 pilots that got shot down over Iran. I know that happened today. I saw that. I hope was one recovered. I don't know exactly what the update was on that. If anybody sees that, we're not talking politics. We're talking about getting our soldiers back who were shot down in a war. So hopefully their families will be okay. It's recognized as one of the top full electric 3-row seating SUVs. $7,500 for the EV lease allowance, $1,000 for a Volvo lease allowance. It's that great of a deal. A large, fully electric luxury SUV. If you're considering buying or leasing a luxury SUV, you have to see and test drive a Volvo. All right, let's get some live reads in, get a Volvo in, get a Canes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Specializing in precision suspension tuning for sports cars, SUVs, and of course trucks. From high-end alignments to full suspension upgrades, we have everything you need. If it's for the truck, give us a call. We got it. 702-840-4400.
The Vegas Golden Knights are rolling through another epic season. And there's nothing more
Hey, one minute.
refreshing than an ice-cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Knights on the ice. Surfside is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation.
Okay, let's do this.
You must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Zip Zap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the Valley. With 23 bays, over 12,000 square feet, Zip Zap is your one-stop shop, offering smog tests, oil changes, detailing, body work, and engine and transmission rebuilding. Plus, Zip Zap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary. Zip Zap Auto on Cheyenne and North Durango Drive, and online at zipzapauto.com.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by M Resort Spa and Casino, the official hotel of the Las Vegas Raiders.
He lines up as an H-back to the right. Here's the snap back. And the throw. Fernando goes to the end zone. Touchdown! Omar Cooper comes up with another brilliant play. And the throw by Fernando Mendoza was dead on the money.
And yeah, there's a little bit of nerves like right before. But those nerves means I'm ready. And those nerves that turn into energy towards the workout and to be a better quarterback. So in that essence, like, you know, like there were nerves, but for me it wasn't very high stakes. It was just having fun with the guys.
All right, that is Mendoza after his workout. JT Clay Baker here wrapping up Friday. Let me go to the Bronx. Mikey in Staten Italy is in the Bronx at the Yankee game calling me live. What's up, Mikey?
Yo, JT, I know you're a New Yorker at heart. There's
stadium never looked better. And give it to the Steinbrenners. JT, I think the prices for all concessions is down like 20% from last year. My season tickets went down $7.50. I understand they raised the better seats, but I'm on the right field line about 30 rows up. Just an amazing day. The Yankees look like they got something special here, JT. I'm just in the police room. We're walking over the Phillies, spending the next 6 to 7 hours there watching. But Yankee Stadium looks good, and you knew Judge was just going to tee off on his first pitch he saw. It's just, JT, I know you've been to a few opening days.
Yes.
But nothing better than baseball than the Yankee Stadium opening day. And the one thing my friend brought up to me, the Major League Baseball does not want a Yankee-Dodger World Series. And hear me out. If that happens and they're going into a work stoppage and it's the 2 highest paid payrolls in the World Series, there's no way they're going to be able to, the owners are going to be able to do anything with the players. So that's amazing. JT, I just want to give you credit for one more thing. You said it when you guys had the first pick in the draft, and you said that Mendoza was the clear choice. Everybody, but you said the weeks before the draft, they're going to come out of the woodworks. They're going to find out that his pinky on his left hand isn't as big on his right. Now Whitlock or they're saying now this Kirk Cousins was the greatest signing ever. Let the kid learn from a pro. Kirk Cousins, man, I want him to work for my company. He just gets contract and guaranteed money. It's a great time, JT. I'm pumped up. And JT, in your bracket challenge, if Michigan wins it all, I win it. And I know you got Arizona going the whole way.
Yes. Take care, Mikey. Good luck winning the Bricklayer Bracket Challenge. And thanks for calling from the cop room, the police room inside Yankee Stadium. You know, Clay, those cops, they all have a hook, man. They just they get in, they get out. They're in the cop room, the break room. They're all hooked up, those cops.
I'd like to think that Mike's helping himself to the coffee and the Danish, you know, and enjoying the nice bench seats.
Absolutely, no doubt. It's great. I love when fans call in from games, man. It's my favorite thing about being on at night when I'm on every night, 3 nights a week, and people are calling me leaving a game, leaving a Laker game, leaving a Sharks hockey game, whatever it is. Love when you fans go to games, no doubt about it. Opens up a line for you. We're trying to get a vibe from Raider Nation today. When would you like to see Mendoza start? Week 1? Week 5? We don't know where the bye week is, but give me a number. How many weeks do you want him to sit? Be specific at 702-365-9200. Carlos in Houston. What's going on, Carlos? Thanks for waiting. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, JT?
Good, Carlos.
Hey, I was just calling to let you know that I'm with the End Zone helmets, and we're the ones that make the helmets for Charles Woodson for his Woodson Whiskey promotion stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was calling to find out how can I make a helmet for the JT Brick Show so you can have it there on display.
Oh, I would love it. I'd love it. Yeah, he's Charles is one of my longest standing friends and partners here. I would love a JT the Brick helmet there, and just reach out to me. Clay will put you on hold here. I'll give you my email address and get me the information, and I'll get it back to you. And that's great. How long have you been doing that for Charles?
So we've been doing them for Charles ever since he started the whiskey company.
Okay.
So as soon as he got started, we started doing promotional mini helmets. We've done a few for Raider players.
Mm-hmm.
We've done some for foundations. We did one for Max Crosby for his podcast. So it's only fitting that we do one for JT the Brick.
You got it, my friend. Are you in our Bricklayer? Are you in our YouTube feed? Do I see you in there from time to time? Because the email address is right there too. But we'll put you on hold and we'll get that for you.
Awesome. Thank you, man. I just wanted to say, you're an awesome show. Keep it up, man.
Thank
and hope to be hearing from you soon.
You will. Thank you very much. Thank you for the nice gesture of a Bricktator helmet. We like that. I like that a lot. We could use props. We're building out the YouTube. We could use some props. Actually, we're building out a studio in my house now. We're moving a lot of stuff that we had from our home in Sherman Oaks, California, that we've had through the kids before the kids were born. And the kids are 24 and 22 now. They're no longer kids, and we're getting it out of the house. Goodwill is coming for a pickup here. If you want to talk about Mendoza, come on in here. We got really good sound. First off, I wanted to hear from Tom Pelissero on Cousins and Mendoza, the scenarios. This is really important here because a lot of the Premier insiders now like the Cousins move, but now how is it going to work alongside Kubiak's system with Mendoza?
The Raiders were pursuing Kirk Cousins ever since the Falcons released him. The issue that they had to work through was Kirk Cousins was due $10 million, fully guaranteed in 2026, even if he was sitting on the couch. He was not going to play in his mind for free, which means that he was going to need to make more than that $10 million if he was going to play somewhere. The Raiders and Cousins' agent, Mike McCartney, came up with a pretty unique structure to work around that issue. And I know there's a lot of numbers that people have seen on social media. Let me break it down to you this way. There's really two ways this contract can go. The most likely one is for Cousins, this is a 1 year, $20 million deal, of which the Raiders are paying $11.3 million. The $10 million he was owed by the Falcons is subject to offsets. He took a minimum salary this year from the Raiders, so about 1.3, which leaves the rest on the Falcons' books. But then to increase his compensation for 2026, they put a $10 million roster bonus on the third day of the league year in this coming March in 2027, which defers the cash and cap until March, but effectively means he makes $20 million to play this season. There is more to the contract, though. The other version of the deal is this potentially could be a 3-year, $100 million deal, because if Cousins is still on the roster on the 5th day of the league year next March, then he is going to have an additional 2 years and $80 million in the 2027 and 2028 season become fully vested. It's basically a team option. And as much as it seems unlikely right now that they could pick that up, Rich, I would say this. Kirk Cousins had one of his best seasons playing with Clint Kubiak as his offensive coordinator in Minnesota. It's where Cousins won his first playoff game over the Saints. They were in the game the following week against the 49ers before they kind of ran out of gas. Cousins has played well in this system. He's 37. He played a lot better once he got his opportunity last year than he had coming right off the Achilles back in his first season with the Falcons in 2024. So let's say, hypothetically, Cousins plays really well. Of course, the Raiders have the number 1 pick. We all expect them to draft Fernando Mendoza, but Kubiak has said himself a couple of days ago at the league meeting, in a perfect world, you'd like the rookie to come in and sit behind, this is Clint's words, a grown adult and see how he runs things before getting his opportunity. Let's say Kirk plays so well, they don't need to go to Mendoza at all in 2026. There is a scenario here where Cousins plays really well, and all of a sudden now you've got a 2-year, $80 million deal, or 2 for $90 prior to the third day of the league year, that maybe could be tradable for the Raiders. They have an exclusive negotiating window to maybe try to work out a restructure. They also have the option of, hey, you played really well, but it's Fernando's time. Let's move on from you. There is a scenario where they could trade Cousins. And oh, by the way, the other thing that I just learned about the way this deal is structured, that additional $80 million, almost all of it is in 2028. He's on the books for a minimum salary again in 2027, of course, in addition to the $10 million roster bonus. So 78.5 or whatever is pushed out into 2028. It really gives the Raiders time here to figure out exactly how they would want to proceed. All this presuming that Cousins comes in, plays really well. It does give some optionality really to both sides, because if they don't pick up the option, which I would say is most likely, then Cousins is right back in the same spot, except this time with no offsets, and he's a free agent again next March.
All right, so that was from the Rich Eisen show. A little bit of a long answer there, but you can hear the contract and how the contract could play out over a number of years. I'm looking at this as a 1-year deal for $1.3 million. That's it. And the fuzzy math, I don't see any scenario today where Kirk Cousins would be back a year from now. I don't. Even if he plays well, he's not going to play. It's Mendoza's team. Mendoza's going to be the quarterback. So you're not going to keep Kirk Cousins around as a backup for big money. Cousins wants to make big money still. So the Raiders were able to finagle this deal. And it's not a 5-year deal or a 3-year deal. It's a 1-year deal. It's not a lot of money. I don't see any other scenario where Cousins would be back next year, because if he does play well, he's going to want to go to another team and start. He's not going to be starting here. It's going to be Mendoza's team. So as I look at this, it's a 1-year deal. Welcome Kirk Cousins here. If he's here 2 years, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if he's here 2 years, because that means he'd want to be a backup quarterback. The guy has no intention to retire. The guy's made all this money. I mean, absurd money. And it seems like he's just as motivated as he's always been to go out and play, and more credit to him. That's what he does. He's a football player. He wants to play. He's healthy. He's ready to go, coming off a serious injury 2 seasons ago. Vince in Northtown. What's going on, Vince? Appreciate you. Go.
JT, how you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Basically, I heard all this Kirk Cousins talk. I was trying to get in touch with you yesterday on your show, and I get it. And it seems like the topic with Raider Nation is like, well, he's going to teach Mendoza how to be a pro. He's going to show him the ropes, this, that, and the third. Yeah, that's great. Look, I don't have any malice towards the guy. I think Kirk Cousins off the field is a great guy. Even watching the Netflix show Quarterback, when they did the behind the scenes of Kirk Cousins, you got to know him, got to know his personality, and he's a generally good guy. He's going to be he's most likely going to be starting for Raiders, and I'm going to be rooting for him, just like I had to root for Geno, just like I had to root for Jarrett Stidham, just like I had to root for Garoppolo, and et cetera, et cetera. But my rebuttal to all of that is like, what is he really going to teach Mendoza? If you look at Mendoza, he is as square as ever, and I mean that in a respectful way. He's a good kid. What is he going to teach Mendoza? How to lose? He's played in the NFL for 14 years, only has one playoff win. He's lost his job. You know, if we're going to talk about football, he's lost his job to a rookie last year. He played horrible in Atlanta. It was a failed situation. And even you saying that you think he's only going to play 1 year for the Raiders, that says a lot. That means he's not going to get us wins. He's not known for a signature win, and that's my only gripe about this move. If I want Mendoza to learn from a quarterback, I want him to learn from somebody who could win games. That's all I got to say. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, I don't agree with you on that. I think you can learn a lot from Kirk Cousins, how to be a leader, how to be someone that prepares properly, and a guy who's won plenty of games here. He's only got one playoff win. You're right about that. You're right about that. I thought he'd have more by now. He didn't play great in a lot of big primetime games, but he's had plenty of big performances in the league. He just should have more. So you can learn a lot from him. No, it's about him being a teacher, a mentor, someone who's going to tell and teach Mendoza how to prepare. Mendoza has never been in an NFL building. He's coming in for his workout Tuesday. But when he comes into the building, Clay, week 1, after he's drafted and the Raiders have their first, off-season mini camp and he's around OTAs and he sees Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins leads him to the quarterback meeting room, and they're looking at film with, a couple of coaches there. He's going to walk him through his film study and how he does it. And that, to me, is going to be phenomenal for Mendoza to learn from a pro.
Yeah, you can't pay enough for that kind of familiarity. You know, there were the guys that are out there, like you now have an asset that in waiting, but you have an asset now in Kirk Cousins who's going to help your other asset gain value. You've got nothing to lose here. So allow this to happen, because we've seen Cousins in Atlanta where he was kind of thrust into, a quarterback battle. That's not what this is. I'm going to help you along because, as you said, I know this playbook by heart.
This playbook is the most impressive thing about what's happened here in the last 2 to 3 days, is that Kubiak's playbook is perfect for Cousins. He knows it already cold. There's nothing in that playbook, and I'm sure Cousins followed really closely what Sam Darnold did last year with Kubiak and already has the cut-ups and is already looking at it. I promise you that Mendoza's already looking at it. Brian Greasy's working out with Mendoza. I promise you Brian Greasy has all the cut-ups of Kubiak's offense with Sam Darnold last year and how the ball came out, the decisions he's made. And Mendoza is just looking at it every night and just diving into it. So the study habits of these guys are going to be fantastic. And I don't know Coach Kubiak well, met him twice, but I can tell you he is laser focused on preparation from his dad, who was a head coach and won a Super Bowl. So I think it's going to be really impressive how these guys are able to go out and prep. Does that mean they're going to win games? Don't know. I don't know how many games they're going to win, but it's not going to be because they don't understand the offense or the offense is too complicated or they need more time. They are going to have this offense down by July or August, and it's going to have a lot of wrinkles to it because the Raiders have a lot of players who are underused. I mean, come on, everybody. I would put Michael Mayer in the top 10 underused players in the entire NFL. Michael Mayer, what are we doing with this guy? What are we doing with Michael Mayer? Make up your mind with Michael Mayer and pull him aside and say you're going to do something with him this year. Give him the credit and give him the ball. Do not put him on special teams to block on the edge. Get him off special teams and turn him into an animal receiver who's getting 10 targets a game. And if Brock gets 15 targets a game, that's 25 at the tight end position. Of course, they're not going to be 25 every game. But Michael Mayer better get 6 or 7 a game, not 6 or 7 every 4 games combined. Too good of an athlete to just sit there and do nothing on game day. That's why Kubiak's got to look at Michael Mayer and say, Mike, not only do we have something planned for you big, or we're going to let you go and play somewhere else where they're going to get you the ball and you're going to be featured. It's time to feature Michael Mayer and let him be the player he was drafted from as a Mackey Award winner from Notre Dame. We're not talking about a bum here, man. We're not talking about a blocking tight end. We're talking about a guy who's supposed to get in the end zone. Let's get him in the end zone. All right, we'll wrap it up on the other side. We got plenty more sound to play, too. I really like Chase Daniels and what he's been saying along the way. Chase Daniels seems to be really sharp, and he's looking for a different platform. He was with Fox Sports 1. He's bouncing around a bit. I'm telling you, someone should hire him. He is really sharp when it comes to quarterback analysis. And speaking of sharp, ESPN has taken over yesterday NFL Network. Seems like they're keeping most of the people, and I think they should. The great Brian Baldinger. Some of the other names, Tom Pelissero you just heard from, Ian Rappaport, all the names there. But there's going to be a lot of people behind the scenes that aren't kept. And with Chris Collinsworth selling Pro Football Focus, a lot of people lost jobs there. A lot of people in media got hit the last week or two with jobs who had really good jobs, and we're thinking of all of them. This is the flagship of the Silver and Black. Thanks to the Bricklayers. We'll see you on Monday. Thank you, everybody. Really good week. Hope you enjoyed it all. We got full draft starting next week. Monday, we're coming in flying on NFL draft coverage. Every day, a draft insider. Please hit like right now. If you can just hit the like button and hit subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. Have a happy Easter, everybody, and a great weekend.
All ground zero because there's nobody else there.